Afternoon, everybody. This is Mark Lazell. I'm the Business Website Director at Healy Consultants Group PLC. I'm based in Singapore, and I have with me today Grace Odhiambo. She is the Senior Client Engagements Manager at Healy Consultants. And good afternoon to you, Grace.
Good afternoon, Mark. It's a pleasure to speak with you again.
Likewise, Grace. Likewise.
Yes.
Grace, we're gathered here today to talk about a recent engagement you completed for a client based in the UK. Will you just give us, over the next minute or so, a brief sort of summary of what the engagement involved and, some of the steps taken?
Yeah, sure. So I have a client who was looking to set up a company in Canada, mainly because he needed to process some payments directly from Canada. So he needed us to give him options of what to set up in Canada and the easiest way to do it, the most tax efficient way to do it. So our first recommendation was that he sets up a limited partnership, because then if he's not doing any business within Canada, or we can just open a bank account outside of Canada and not have to pay taxes. But then he mentioned he didn't have a partner, so we went for the LLC. And the setup was quite straightforward. Didn't have any issues apart from the company names that he had provided initially, which had a bit of an issue with the Canadian government rejecting all the names because the government wanted more distinctive company names.
Right.
And the proposed name was not available because it appeared to lack distinctiveness. So I had to go back to the client and ask for additional company names, and those were all just good enough.
Okay, very
good. So
good.
we proceeded with the LLC.
Okay.
Yeah, I do have to mention that we did use a nominee director for the whole setup because he's not based in Canada, and the requirement is that you have to have one local director.
Right.
Yeah.
And obviously the engagement took place against the background of COVID-19 and all the restrictions on travel. So I'm sure also that the fact that the client did not need to travel to Canada to complete any of this was a big bonus as well.
Yes, it was. It worked in his favor because he didn't even want to travel anyway. So everything went smoothly until we got to the bank account, which also had a bit of an issue because the client wanted account with a debit card, but initially he didn't mention to us that he wanted a Visa or MasterCard. He just said a debit card. So we opened an account with one of the banks in Canada, and when we received the debit card, it's one of those cards that you can only use in Canada. It's not a Visa or a Master, it's just a debit card provided by the bank.
Okay.
So then we had to go back again and open another bank account with the client's requirements that provided a Visa debit card. And what the nominee director advised was that we keep the structure as she will be the only director, not mention to the bank that she's a nominee, because apparently Canada banks are now closing company accounts where they have a nominee structure.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. This is all obviously very good information for you, Grace, in terms of handling future Canadian engagements as well, I'm sure, because lessons learned like this are very important and very valuable, I'm sure. Was this your first Canadian engagement, or have you worked on Canada before?
Yeah, this was my first.
Okay, interesting.
Yes,
interesting.
yes.
Well, I hope it will be the first of many. And if there's anything else you'd like to say about the engagement, that's great. If not, we'll leave the call there.
For Canada, I think everything is basically quite straightforward and doesn't take long, unless, of course, you're setting up a limited liability partnership, which takes a little bit longer, about 3 weeks, for government review the documents and approve the company. But otherwise, everything is very straightforward.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time, Grace, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon about another engagement that you have successfully completed. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.